Just when it seemed like President Trump had wisely sidestepped the controversies surrounding Roy Moore and other Washington sex scandals, he dove right into the muck with White House reporters and seemed to suggest that he, well, supports Roy Moore.
Look, he denies it. I mean, if you look at what is really going on and you look at all the things that have happened over the last 48 hours, he totally denies it. He says it didn't happen.
Well, some political analysts say the president should have just continued to stay quiet on that issue, with some calling the off-the-cuff statements an unforced error. Same goes for his ongoing Twitter spat with the NFL, as well as basketball dad LeVar Ball, whom Trump referred to as a poor man's Don King. So what will it take for the president to avoid the political third rail? Or could it be in his best interest to just keep stirring the pot? Let me bring in former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer. He is also a Fox News contributor. Ari, I have said literally since the president declared his candidacy, you shouldn't be on Twitter, you shouldn't be saying that, but he still does it, and he won the White House, and he's still here.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should ever think he will get off of Twitter. He won't. He's actually used it to his benefit many times. I think sometimes he's gone too far. The LeVar Ball thing, I think, is just a silly distraction. I don't think there's anything that's going to upset the ship of state here. But it's a fight that if you're the president, sometimes you want to elevate. You don't have to be in every fight that's out there. As
a communications director, though, the comments that he made on the fly about Roy Moore, it was the way he said it that seemed to be the problem. And as if he did not have kind of a prepared response to those questions. Whose fault is that?
Oh, no, I think he had a prepared response. He knew what he wanted to say, and I think he's been inching toward this for weeks. Look, he can't keep silent on this forever. The election's not for another 3 weeks. He's going to talk to the press within the next 3 weeks. And he made his point. And he is in an impossible catch-22. Play it out. If Donald Trump had said that Moore needs to step down, the immediate next question is, then what about you, Mr. President? Why should we believe Roy Moore's accusers when we didn't believe yours? So he can't say that. And so what's he going to say? And then I think that's the pickle that he's in, and that's why he said what he said.
But does it distract and take away and even damage his agenda? As the Senate is now trying to move forward on massive tax reform, it'll ultimately, if it can get through the Senate and go to conference, does this hurt that? Should he be communicating more about that versus everything else from basketball to football to the color of the sky?
Well, look, I think that nothing is going to impact tax reform in this election. Either Republicans are going to be able to pass it before this election or they're not. And then if you lose the seat in Alabama, then it's going to be even more precarious when it comes to final passage if they don't have that done in time. So I understand that incentive to want to have somebody who votes your way. But again, you know, it's not as if you can just avoid reporters for 3 weeks. I suppose he could clam up and do that, but it's very hard to do when you're the president. And he's going to get asked by the press about Roy Moore. They love the topic. They're never going to let it go.
And I will give him this. He did try to make it about a political choice, that are you going to choose a Democrat? And he mentioned that the candidate was weak on crime. And are you going to choose a Republican? And I thought that was the kind of lane that you want to stay in.
You have to be consistent. And I have said that the right moral thing would have been for Roy Moore to have stepped down. I wish he had done that. I don't defend Roy Moore. But in the Democrats' case, take what happened with Congressman Conyers, who's now also been accused of sexual harassment and have had paid off a settlement. One of the leading Democrats in the House leadership, a congressman named James Clyburn, fellow Democrat, said this about his friend Congressman John Conyers, that the charges against him don't have any real substance. Quote, you can't jump to conclusions with these types of things. For all I know, all this could be made up. So if the Democrats are going to jump on Donald Trump for not believing the accusers of Roy Moore, they need to jump on James Clyburn for defending John Conyers. You can't have it both ways. And the Democrats are trying to have it both ways on these issues.
Well said. Ari Fleischer, great to see you. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.